Hey, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. It is June 29th. One more day in the month. Pretty big month happening in my organization. I'm excited. It'll probably finish even stronger. So good morning. Good morning. It is June 29th, episode 492. And if you see this behind me, last night I got volunteered in, marshaled in with a very dear friend of mine, Lisa Grossman, Curtis Broom, Angel Fletcher, Stephen Pasha Carter, Diane Hockman, pretty big names in our profession. Angel started something called Random Chats of Kindness, and it's something that's going to launch on July 4th. But it was some of you have seen it in the secret sauce. I posted it and shared it. We did a live last night. The reason I posted it there, yes, I think it's a valuable community to be a part of. The other thing I think is extraordinarily valuable is how it was an evolution of her secret sauce. Because I got the call 10 minutes before the call went live last night at 10 o'clock. She had been working on stuff, and so she wanted me to be a part of it because she knows my heart, my passion. But I think it's kind of neat to be able to have this concept and this idea, random chats of kindness. And what's triggered her, again, talking about the secret sauce, what triggered her was this idea of she's tired of the internet being mean and seeing meanness in media, whether it be internet, whether it be on TV, in news shows, just this meanness, just the way people respond. So about 4 o'clock in the morning, which was another significant point, between 3 and 4 is when we have some pretty high connections to the universe. So I thought it was kind of interesting that it happened at 4 o'clock, and at 4:30 they bought the website Random Chats of Kindness. So I thought it was really cool to see somebody who's like my older sister find a new thing to get passionate about. So anyways, so if you want to check that out, randomchatsofkindness.com, go there, put your email in, and you'll get updates and stuff. So it's kind of cool. That being said, I'd encourage you, welcome to the call. Send out your random chats of kindness. Send out 3 of those to folks. And when you do that, so I see somebody dropping a D in the chat already. Drop a D in the chat. If you're new to the call, drop an N in the chat. Let us welcome you and love you. I think there's somebody here from Atlanta that will be new, Latoya. Yeah, kind of neat. So that was interesting, and that's probably going to be with some of the folks that are getting marshaled into this particular community. Lisa Grossman is the Tiffany Malott does a magazine called Direct Sales Divas. And Lisa was titled the godmother of network marketing. She'll be 32. She's 32 years now, 33 years in November. But most people at the higher ends, they know Lisa. Lisa is somebody that will do anything for you. But so when she starts this and she says, okay, I'm calling in my cards. There's going to be trainings inside of the community. There's going to be teachings on humanity and personal development and a variety of things. So anyways, it's kind of a cool club to be a part of, cool community. That'll be pretty big. That being said, let me just check here. Move some things around. Participants. There's all the participants. Yeah, the moment. I guess that's when I was hearing that this morning, the moment. Where are you at? Where are you at? We talk about that all the time. Where are you at? See, one of the things that was said last night was one of the speakers, Angel Fletcher, said, she said she was watching something on Facebook and she was scrolling through, and she's part of, now she understands social media. This woman is a phenomenon. Since the beginning of the year, she's got about 116,000 people in her phone. In her phone, she sent out 19,000 text messages. And in doing so, she's part of lots of Facebook community groups. And one of the stories she told last night is that she saw somebody in a Facebook group. She saw a guy trying to get a hold of a buddy of his. He had a tire that went flat and was trying to locate him to see if he could come out and help him get a tire for it. And this is what my dear friend did. She went out and she connected to the guy, found out where he was at, found out where he was located. She sent a tow truck and sent 4 brand new tires for him to get on his car. Now, she said, he'll never know me and she'll never know it, but sometimes we get to be able to do some amazing things for people. And part of giving back is to help those people who can never give back to you. And so I had a little conversation with that, because many of you are giving to people who could never give back to you. We've heard Rhonda say it before. Maybe they're a miracle for you. You're a miracle for them, but in this moment, they can also be a miracle for you. I was working on some stuff for Secret Sauce last night, here launching in 2 days. And part of that was, which miracle are you? Because here's what I know. Every one of you that's on this call is a miracle. Sometimes you're a miracle for the person, and sometimes the person you're helping is a miracle for you. But you're always part of the miracle. You're always the miracle. When you give away things in this moment, when you're at the highest level of joy, when you're in this moment and you give all you have, being able to do that is truly being a miracle for yourself. The fact that you get to give to somebody, the fact that you get to pour into somebody, the fact that you get to serve somebody brings a miracle to you. Yeah, you might be the miracle for them, but those moments that we get to give at that highest level, that highest person of ourself, we truly are the miracle. And that's a miracle for us to stand in that moment. So in this moment right now, where you're at, in this moment where you sit, what miracle is happening? And if there's not, I'd encourage you to pay a little closer attention. I really would. Pay a little closer attention to the miracle that you're being right now, whether you're giving it or receiving it. If you're giving a miracle, there's a miracle happening for you in this moment. Imagine the joy that's happening right now, because maybe it's a delayed miracle. Maybe something you said yesterday, maybe a post that you did yesterday is still getting likes today. Maybe a video you did on IG. Maybe there's an IGTV that somebody liked today, and you see it as a heart, but you said the right things at the right time for the right person. It literally changed their life. It's why we need more content. More content out there for people to find you, for people to flow into you, for people to have you in their world. You know, I think it's Gary Vaynerchuk talks about when he's helping people to go build, the number of content that he says to build every day. I want to say it's like 60 pieces of content daily. I think that's huge. Yet in all of social media and in being able to what's the word? Repurpose, you might be able to make 60 pieces of content. You make a cool dozen of them on a daily basis, but repurpose them. Use some pieces and parts here and there, here's and there's. Jeremy, I see your hands up, brother. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. I actually wasn't going to speak today, but I did a morning meditation, and Brandon was on it, and he noticed that my energy was off. So I mentioned something, and then now with you saying this, I just want to mention, because I know it's going to help me. So I did a post. My last video was about like power habits, and I did a couple of videos before that. And I got reached out by my cousin yesterday, who we fell off. We stopped talking about 5 years ago from just like some business we did. We didn't see eye to eye. We fell off. And he called me asking for my help because he's very sick. So I'm meeting him today. And just, I don't know, just through meditation, like all of this. And then you mentioned with the social media about how, you know, he told me he's been watching me this whole time, and he never commented, and he never even pressed the like. And then yesterday I felt good because I was like, all right, well, this is meant to be. This is meant to be, you know, awesome. And then I don't know, I'm just off after today's meditation.
So when you say off, take a look at it. Off because it doesn't feel good, or off because you're not used to this feeling?
Not used to the feeling.
So it doesn't mean off, right? What you found is that your energies were connecting people and giving people a chance to follow you in a way that allowed you to be of tremendous service, and you didn't know it. So the feeling is off. Doesn't mean it's down, doesn't mean it's out. It's a new feeling. This is a breakthrough. And this will happen more and more. This happens to be your cousin. I think that prayers and blessings, y'all drop some hearts and prayers and blessings in the chat for Jeremy's cousin. But I think the reason that it came through your cousin is so you can realize the impact that you're having. Because your cousin had the courage to reach out to you. There's still people out there that's seeing this that don't have the courage to reach out to you. And this is part of, remember I said this, I think Rhonda wrapped it up yesterday saying, are you ready for the love? When you start to step into your secret sauce, when you start to step into your higher service, there is a level of connection that you start to create and you start to swirl in this world that's different than ever before. And this is a new beginning of feelings just like this. The fact that you can meet your cousin is pretty amazing. There's going to be many people who you won't be able to meet. As you continue to share your story and share your mission and your vision and your conversation, there's going to be people around the globe that won't even have, they can't even find the courage to say thank you. So thank you for sharing that. This is a perfect example of what happens of what we will transition through as you begin to unlock your secret sauce.
Yeah, thanks for letting me share that.
Thank you for sharing it.
Yeah.
It's important. Thank you very much. Let's go to Eve. Good morning, Eve.
Good morning, Sean. Good morning, everybody. Oh my God, I was counting the days to come and tell you everything that is happening. Like, literally, I couldn't be with you. I couldn't be with you guys in the weekend. And I was like, oh, praying so hard to finally Monday get here because, oh my God, there's so much that is happening that is just like literally a miracle.
I love it.
So listen to this. You know that I found you in through Nano, right? And then I've been connecting to his calls and yours since middle of April. So I got all my girls connecting to him too, and some to you. So I know that the guy was here in Miami, normal, so super cool, right? And I noticed that the place where he was staying is like one of these buildings where I normally do my meditation. He was close to where I was, right? Last Friday that I was here doing my meditation and then finish your call. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna go home. And from the car in my house, I would listen to his call. Little did I know, I started walking to my car and I found the guy walking to me. Like, and I was like, thought about it for a moment when I saw that he was around the area. I was like, oh, that's so cool. So close to me, that energy, like, like it's here. And I found him. I got the pleasure to meet him on Friday, and it was so freaking amazing to presence his call live. It's just so freaking awesome to be able to like manifest that moment. And also, I want to tell you something. I don't know what is this, what is this, but like a month ago, I was in my house and I live in the last floor of my building, right? And then all of a sudden, I see a lot of birds in my house, right? Like around it. But I know the pigeons and the color of the birds that I see. I was sitting in my balcony and 4 white birds came and they stand in front of me, and they were looking, and they were there like for a good 10 minutes. My husband and I look at each other and we were like, this is odd. Because yes, it's a lot of birds, but no white pigeons, like no white doves, as you call them.
Mm-hmm. Doves, yeah.
Okay, doves. Okay, things happen like that and things keep going. Lately, for the past 5 days, I keep seeing them everywhere, but just me. Like yesterday, I was on my balcony and they passed by me. Friday, I was here after I saw Nano, and there were one right in my car. I was meditating the day before that, and it was right here. I don't know what this is.
So it's literally peace showing up. The dove is the sign of peace, right? So it's peace happening in your life. It's an organization. It's a memory of. Usually when we look at for higher messages, right, a lot of people use time when they see this similar time. 11:11, 10:10, 9, 5:55, all of these different things. It's a coalescence of time and space to say, pay attention to the moment. I'm letting you know you're doing something. The consistency with which you're showing up, the universe wants you to see it that, hey, listen, you're doing things that are amazing, that are impacting the world in a positive, beautiful way. Keep going. And
Receive that.
There's so many stories, be it in the Bible or a variety of places, where they're walking through the desert and hundreds of thousands of aquatic bird fly into the desert at 3-foot level for everybody to be able to have enough food. If the miracle, if the maker of the universe can take care of things like that, and they're investing time in you to move animals to where they've not been before, then there's something pretty special about you, a message that's about you that needs to continue to be told. They're little hints, and a lot of times those things will happen, but people aren't paying attention enough. They don't have their reticular activating system turned on. And who knows, maybe that's been happening all the time. But you sit there now with your reticular activating system, you stepping into your secret sauce, having your Barbie, right? All of these things, when you start to celebrate joy, it's funny how the world will celebrate joy with you and give you a chance to be in joy so that you can be an influencer for others.
That's so amazing. Thank you so much. I wanted to really share, and I was like, I don't understand what is this. And I can feel that peace. I can feel it, and my energy has been so high. I feel it. I feel it. I feel everything.
And how does that make you feel?
I ask myself, like, why did it took you so long to realize it was just you? It was all the time there. It was all this time. It was here inside me. Like, it's here. It's here. It's me. It's I am so proud of myself. I am so thankful for me, for doing this, for my consistency and being thinking like you are so consistent. You are so resilient. You are so like,
So Eve, the fact that you're going through this, and yes, you get emotional and you get excited and there's lots of things happening.
mhm.
Are people around you benefiting?
I'm passing it on to my girls. I am, yeah, definitely. I feel it. My
So,
husband asked me how he could be more positive.
okay. So all of these things are happening,
Yeah.
and the question might not be to continue the old story. What took so
Mhm.
long is, what if you change that from what took so long to, would I ever give away another second of my joy?
I'm working on not letting that happen.
Because in the asking of why did you take so long, the 3 seconds it takes to ask that question,
Mhm.
what did you step out of?
My joy.
Yeah. See, it's how the old story.
Want to creep up, huh?
Yeah, it's always there. It's always there. And here's the other thing. I'll let you in on a little secret. You ready for a little secret?
Mhm.
You're just starting to scratch the tip of your joy. The beginning of your success. You're just starting to dive into it, to step into it, to open your eyes to it. Because 2 months from now, a week from now, a year from now, if you look back at this call and look back at what you've shared this morning, you're like, "Ugh, I thought I was in so much joy. I had no idea what was going to happen." I've seen this. When you start on this path, when an individual begins to become the universal individual, not the myopic based upon being in Miami, based upon being on the beach or in this place, but when you start to your energy starts to glow, to glow and to grow at a universal level, at a galactic level, that's the power you have. This is what the beginning of awakening feels like. And every day we feel, oh my gosh, you won't believe this happened. And every day you won't believe this happened. And every day you begin to wake up a little more and a little more. Go back to just 3 months ago. The thing that drew you onto this call, the thing that drew you onto any call, different. This is what stepping into the frontier is like. It's messy. It's unknown. It's a life of, I can't believe this is happening. And then there's a transition from I can't believe it's happening to your belief becomes stronger and bigger, and you start to believe yourself into life. Believe, Belive, is, I think that's how it's spelled, right? Make sure I'm spelling it right. Somebody give me a nod on it. Believe, Belive. Is that right? How do you spell believe? Somebody type it in the chat.
Believe.
Oh, well. Oh, well, so there's Eve.
I know. Mm-hmm.
Because where my head was going, the subconscious, be live. Well, that's how you'd say it, be live. So here's the thing. Enjoy it, journal it, and watch how you grow. Because you've planted yourself, and now you're starting to sprout new ideas, new concepts. When your husband says, how can I be more positive? When your girls are absolutely more excited about the things they get to do and how life flows into them. It's pretty awesome. It's very, very awesome.
Thank you so much, Sean. Thank you so much to every single one of you. And I have to say, one of the keys is that question, misery or joy, and every single time, like my old story, and also the Barbie thing. Like, I believe that was a huge thing in my life. So I am so thankful, so thankful, because I really feel that unlocked something in myself.
There's no doubt. And be on the lookout for the next chance to get the next quote Barbie, the physical representation of you allowing yourself to give yourself joy.
What you mean?
Well, it's like Colombian. What you mean? What you mean? Tell me what you mean. So when you gave yourself, when we had the conversation, and I took you on a little meditation, and it was about the Barbie party.
Yeah.
From that moment, you then went on and you gave yourself the Barbie with the star behind her and the stand and the dresses and all of this stuff. And that was a turning point. You giving yourself the thing, realizing that it's okay for you to give you joy. It's a Barbie, but it had the sentimental meaning. It had the emotional meaning. It had the emotional connection. It put the old story to rest that you weren't good enough, that all of a sudden you're good enough. You're an actress on novellas. You have this amazing life. You live this amazing dream life. You're gorgeous. You work out. You do all of these things. And yet it was, I don't know, maybe by the time it was all said and done, $100, $200 worth of plasticware that gave you life. Sometimes I will say this, it's okay for us all the time to be able to buy our own story. The challenge is we're believing our own press. There's two different things. So what I say is that there's another Barbie out there. There's another story that you're going to be able to give yourself that will take you to the next level. And maybe the gift you give yourself is no longer bringing up the old story. It's no longer, why is this happening to me? Is why doesn't more happen to me? Why doesn't more joy happen to me? I'm tuning myself in. I'm adjusting the dial. If you've ever listened to any radio station, right? 93.3, 105.6. On the FM dial, the band that puts out more energy, you can be farther away from the source. Follow me on this. You can be farther away from the source, the antenna, in an FM radio than you can in an AM radio. There's so many stations out there. It's not just tune it into 101, it's 101.2, 101.4, 101.6. You're starting to dial in that number. Barbie got you to the right station called Eve, called Evelyn. Now you're dialing it in. Is it 101.1, 2.3, 0.4, 0.5, 0.6? And that's what these awakenings, that's what these moments of you being able to sit and enjoy. It's fine tuning. It's the slightest of adjustment of the sail of the message for you to sit in pure joy.
You're saying so much of what I wrote in my journal this morning. May I read a little bit?
Please.
It says,
Makes me sound smart.
I just saw the most beautiful sunrise in the world. I feel so proud of you, Evelyn. Again, you did it, girl. You are connected to the source. You are there. Enjoy, don't resist. You are attracting all the mentors you wanted. And you got the best for you in your team. You got it, girl. You qualified. You did it. I love you, Evelyn. I am so proud of you, girl. This is your year. Thank you. Thank you, Jehovah, for allowing me to do everything.
So
thank you, Lord, for so much abundance, so much love, so much peace. So much peace in my life. And this is my life.
So how many of us would like to have that red about us in our own journal. Follow me on this. You get to write things like that about you. You get to. Don't have to, you get to. You can do it right now. You can do it right now. Each of you have the gift of joy to be able to write it down for yourself. This idea that you're amazing, put it on paper. Well, isn't that being egotistical? That's the old story telling you that. Listen, if you don't love you, who the heck else can love you? Be aware you get to be in this moment. And in this moment, what do you choose? Joy or misery? Watch what happens when you choose joy. Watch what happens as you begin to choose more joy, as you begin to live your secret sauce. There's people flowing into Eve's life right now that are moving, that are literally potentially moving from another state to be near Eve, and they don't even know why they're moving. They're going to go, you know, it's the weirdest thing. I just wound up here in Miami. And you're like, really? How cool is that? They're moving to get closer to Eve. You can call it job, you can call it this, you can call it that. There's people moving into Texas right now to be near me. For them to flow into my life, for me to flow into their life in the physical world. Well, that's kind of egotistical. Okay, you're right. I'm rich. Let's move on. Ego, to me, stands for energy going onward and Godward. Too many people, the ego means edging God out. When you begin to sit in your joy, when you begin to show up in your own world for you, life happens at an exponential pace. So Eve, as you begin this process and as you go through it, be aware of things happening faster. Be aware of seeing things happen at such an exponential speed. In Think and Grow Rich, in Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, in the preface, before they even get in the book, in the preface, in the part of the book before the book, he says, as you read this book, no fewer than 100 times has the secret to success been revealed on these pages. And once it's been revealed to you, stop, turn down a drink, for your life will never be the same. It goes on to say is that when you start to understand the secret to success and life pours into you, you'll wonder where it was during all of the lean times. And that's
Can you repeat that again?
Say again.
The part of the lean back, lean on, what?
So what happens is that we will see that when joy starts coming to you,
Mm-hmm.
we ask, in the book it says the lean times. The lean times are when life wasn't so good. It's
Okay.
kind of, we didn't have enough joy. We didn't have enough money. We didn't have enough friends. We didn't have enough business. We didn't have enough jobs. We didn't have enough fill in the blank. There just wasn't enough. We were operating with a very small margin of joy. And then when this stuff starts flowing in, you're like, where were you when I was suffering? Where were you when I was hurt? Where were you when I was broke? Where were you when I was almost evicted? Where were you when I was evicted? Where were you when my family fell apart? Where was all of this joy when I was in the middle of a poop storm? Because it's always there. All of this that you're experiencing, all of this that any of you is experiencing going through right now is tremendous joy, exists always. Always. Because right now, if joy exists, you know what else exists?
Misery.
And this is the law of opposites. So I'm in Texas, Eva's in Miami, that's say 1,600 miles difference. So if Eve is 1,600 miles away from me, how far am I away from her? Could I be 1 centimeter farther away or closer? No, the law of opposites says everything is opposite. Everything has an opposite. And the misery that you're in, the exact joy in the exact same second, in the exact same moment, if you're in misery, the exact same amount of joy the depth of joy, the height of joy. If you're in deep misery, high joy exists. If you're in high joy, guess what else exists? Deep misery. This is where we have the phrase, waiting for the other shoe to drop. I'm in joy, but this won't last. And the universe goes, ugh. If you say it won't last, I can make sure it doesn't last. Does any of the wind, follow me on this, does any of the wind, Eve happens to be out where seagulls fly, and there's seagulls, and there's the, I forgot the name of the big birds, but all of these animals that fly on the air. Can you imagine how joyful the air is that we can't see, the air is that we can't feel, but it's out there, and the birds, when they flap their wings, there's enough resistance there for them to be able to fly. Could you imagine how happy the air is that gets flown through? Otherwise, it's just air. It's just hanging out. But when a bird comes through and it flies on the air, could you imagine how happy that air is? Could you imagine if the air that's not being flown on got sad? How would you like to fly through a sad pocket of air? That might be turbulence in airplanes. I don't know. I'm just making this stuff up. But my point is that could you imagine air being sad? Anybody ever get any sad sun? Can you imagine getting sad sun? How about sad rain? I know rain can make some people sad.
Oh no, Sean, we don't call it rain. We call it liquid sunshine.
Liquid sunshine. So all of that to say, change the way you look at things, and the things you look at will change. Dr. Wayne Dyer was brilliant when he said that. Is it okay for us to be in joy? Do you believe that you have a storage for joy? Do you believe you have a space in your heart for more joy? If you believe you have a space in your life for more joy, drop a J in the chat. In this moment, can you have more joy? Then I would encourage you to amp up your joy filter. Anybody ever change out the air filters in their air conditioner? Sometimes you can go for a month, 2 months without changing it. There's a lot of dirt here up in the Plano area. A lot of just, I mean, dust and dirt and pollen and everything else. We've got to change our air filters. I mean, they get kind of collapsing with the collapsing suck on them. They'll start to cave in a month. In a month. Where some people that I know live out in the middle of God's area, and they can go 3 or 4 months without changing their filters. When's the last time you cleaned out your joy filter? Here's another thing. Anybody work on cars? Anybody ever know how to clean a filter? This is a hard part. I don't know why this is being downloaded to me, but I grew up on a farm, and sometimes we would have to clean out air filters. Now follow me on this. An air filter, let's say in a car, right? There's a round air filter, and the air comes in, goes through the filter, and then into the engine. So when you go to clean a filter, follow me on this. When you go to clean a filter, let's say this is the filter, right? Air flows in here and down into the engine. How do you clean out a filter? Do you blow the air from the outside in, or do you go from the inside and blow it out? You go from the inside and blow it out. So any joy that's stuck in here, any residual that's stuck in the filter is being blown out so that you can create space to have the airflow in come easier. You're blowing out a lot of the dirt, a lot of the debris, but imagine in this metaphor that we're talking about, we're blowing out all of the madness, the sadness, the sickness, but you're also blowing out joy that got stuck in here. How many of us know that, or can realize, or can now see how joy got stuck in our filter? And we change the way we look at things, and all of a sudden the joy can flow in. Sometimes when finding your secret sauce is blowing this air filter out from the inside out. That's what your list of 1,000 things. Some of you are crazy enough and smart enough to go do a list of 1,000 things. Started off with a list of 100. Funny how Grant Cardone was right when he said 10x it. Y'all see what you're doing on your own when you start to step into your own joy, how you will 10x yourself. I didn't tell you to do that. And then yesterday you were like, well, let's everybody go for 1,000. Great, go for it. Knock yourself out. That's a great, cool idea. Yet as you stand and as Eva's clearing out her filter, because she's doing less, right? She's doing less. She's focusing in on her. She's tuning into her own soul. She's awakening to her own story. She bought herself her own Barbie. And now all of a sudden there's all this joy that's flowing in the world. Her girls, her husband is saying, how can I be more positive? She didn't say, listen, everybody around me, I'm going into joy. Y'all get your butts in gear and start to be more joyful. This can't, the result is that it has to happen. When you get into the highest levels of joy, joy around you has to happen. All of a sudden you become that vibration. People just want to be in your presence. People just want to see your smile. People on the street, people on social media, they just need to be around you. And they need to fall in love with themselves again. As they fall in love with you, they get to at least have the flow of love in their life again. How many of us, how many of you, each and every one of you, I'm looking at you, there's people who have fallen in love with you in a way that they're like, oh my gosh, they become groupies. They become individuals who are just like, I got to be around you. I got to hang around you. And you're like, well, you know, you can do this on your own. That's probably true. They could. But for this moment in time, they need you. They need to fall in love with you. They need to be promoting you. They need to be speaking of you, because it's how the river of love starts to flow. It's how you begin to give them a chance to absolutely fall back in love with themselves in a way that if it wasn't for you, they couldn't have done it. Sometimes you're the catalyst that starts their love to rotate and spin and circle and cycle in their life when it hadn't in a very, very long time. So be in the moment. Get as close to the moment as you can. And when you fall into the moment, you realize life is a tumble. Because you get to fall into every single, this moment, you get to fall into this moment, and then this one, and then this one, and then this one, and then this one. Is this moment inevitable? If this moment is inevitable, not the one that I asked you at, is this moment inevitable? Is this moment absolutely inevitable? Then in this moment, what do you choose? Misery or joy?
Sean, can I say something?
Please.
And what I'm noticing is that we love to be the victim. We love to be this Maria la del barrio and crying and we love to be there. It's like if we look for reasons, and it's because I was talking to my mom the other day, and like all of a sudden she just started crying and just for things that have nothing to do with her. And I'm like, do you ever want to be happy? Do you ever really desire to be happy, or you just really like to feel like this? And it's so crazy because it's so simple. We can decide to do it or not. It's just a simple decision. And it sounds like even like something that everybody have said so much, but it is like that. Like, okay, things, they just hit my car the other day, and yeah, just choose to find the reasons why to be thankful. And we just waste so much time on the misery. That's it.
And now, and here's the thing, Eve, is that since you've stepped into this, and now all of a sudden you see where everybody else has been failing in the wanting it for others. And this is the theory of the crab, right? You put one crab in a bucket, it tries to get out, and it finally says, I can't get out. Put another crab in a bucket, the second crab tries to get out, the first one's pulling it down going, you can't get out, you can't get out, you can't get out. And then it finally stops. You put a third crab in there, the first two will almost destroy it, will rip it apart by saying you can't get out. Literally, just pull it apart, trying to keep it because it's trying to get out. It doesn't know. So as you begin to become aware, what you just shared, the story about your mom all of a sudden getting sad for no reason, there is a reason. The absolute 100% reason that your mom got sad was to keep you from joy. To ask listen, you know I love you. To ask the question, when will you be happy, takes you out of your joy. It's a challenging question. It's a tough question. This is why the power of words are so absolutely amazingly important. Something that you might ask mom the next time. Hey, mom, remind me of a joyful moment. Do you remember when? And go back to joy.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
I say this to say because nobody ever calmed down when they were mad by somebody going, hey, listen, just calm down. And nobody who's sad ever became joyful by saying, hey, listen, just choose joy. Because the choice that they're in is the choice that they're in. It's the choice they made. What if we could give them a chance to make a better choice? Whether it's in the future or present or past, sometimes you've got to speak the language. And if they're in a state of this misery with things that have nothing to do with them, from our perspective, why not ask them a question that does have something to do with them that might change the way they look at things?
Can I offer a question along
Sure.
that line? We're talking about being in the present. And one way to think about it is the present is offering you the present of dealing with the moment. And L. Michael Hall taught us that the thing that most controls our results, what we do, how well we do it, our experience of what we're doing, is the view that we have of ourselves from outside of ourselves. In other words, if Eve could take any experience that she's had and step outside of herself and say, well, what meaning can I make of this? What meaning can I make of my experience with my mom? And beyond that, you can refine it to what I think is perhaps much more powerful. What is the meaning that I choose to make of this that will best serve me from now on? As I'm standing outside myself, observing myself having this experience with my mom, what meaning, what story can I tell about myself having this experience, that when I remember that meaning, that story, will serve me better from now on? And in every moment, we've been given the present to be able to, by being conscious beings, to be able to do that. We're able to step outside of ourselves and look at the experience we're having right now, be it overwhelming joy or the most horrendous pain. We can always stand back from ourselves and make a new meaning of it. And this was taught to us by, I would forget the guy's name, the guy from, that survived Auschwitz, wrote Man's.
Viktor Frankl.
Yeah, Viktor Frankl. Thank you very much. Yeah, Viktor Frankl taught us that no matter what happens to us, we can decide how we're going to react to it and what meaning we're going to make of our experience. And when he discovered that and applied it to himself, he survived Auschwitz. They could beat on him, they could starve him, they could freeze him, they could insult him. But when you stand back and decide what kind of a meaning you want to make about your experience in that moment, you have the control.
I feel like it made me notice, you know, like my awareness and what it really was. I don't know what's the word that I'm using. Is that she chose to be sad. She chose, like, you can tell her many other things and she will laugh, and I explain her that we all have the possibility to be happy if we decide. And the reasons why she's sad, I show her the ways why she could be happy and thankful about, because like Sean said, if you change the way that you look at things, the things that you look at change. So let's look at it on the other side. Let's look at the blessing of what you are crying about, because it is a blessing in there. But she's consistent to hold on to that story.
Okay, now that's about her. What I'm talking about is when you stand outside of that experience and look at yourself, what is the meaning you're making about your experience of that? What story would be useful to tell yourself tomorrow if you were to encounter something very similar with maybe someone else? What is the meaning what does it mean to you to be interacting with your mom in that way, as you stand outside of yourself and watch yourself do that?
I feel thankful.
Great.
Because
okay.
now I realized that I was that person, that I was like that. I was that girl. I was just like my mom. I love to be the main character of the suffering novella. I was that girl. Oh, poor miserable me. Why this happened to me? And hold on to it. And I mean, looking at the circumstances with her, yes, it was that. Like I was thankful to see how much I have grown, and just praying to have her close to every day, maybe continue like little by little planting seeds of positive thinking. And I'm sending her like little books to read or listen. So
You're making a meaning of seeing yourself as a wise person who's grown, who's come to be able to see things in a different way, and in some way move beyond those simple, troublesome experiences, something like that. Could you say something like that about yourself, about having had that experience?
Yes, I definitely had that experience before. Yes.
So I'm just suggesting a good question to ask is, what is the meaning that will best serve me as I go forward? What is the meaning of that, of having had that experience, of being in that experience now, that will best serve me as I go into the future? Just something to think about.
Thank you very much.
There you go. I saw Latoya had a hand up, but I'm not sure if she disappeared or, okay. RBP, what are you feeling through all this?
Good morning. Oh, Eve is, Eve always touches my heart. I just want to go down to Miami and hug her. Just love her so much.
I'm
I
waiting
want
for
to
you,
go.
girl. I'm waiting for you.
I know. We're gonna go toy shopping. We're gonna get us some dolls and some toys and teddy bears and I don't know. We're gonna have fun. We'll act like two little 8-year-old girls or something. I was over here writing down, where did my journal go? In the Click journal. So I'll be cautious as to what all I share. But I was over here writing things down, and I don't know, my mind, Sean, it goes in a bunch of different directions, and it's like,
I do not, just in case it goes to court. No, I do not.
y'all have to say a prayer for Sean, because Sean has to put up with me all the time, and then at the month end, and that gets a wild place to be. So no, Eve is making me think of how we get in our own way of success. And it's the same thing about joy. And I heard her when she was talking about her mom, because my mom will do that too. And I always want to walk up and go, why don't you just be happy? And I've learned here lately that when I walk up to my mom, she's in a negative place like that. And anybody for that matter, I've been doing it more, but it seems to be harder with our family at times. And I'll walk up, and when mom's just in a victim role or a blame everybody role, I'll just let her finish her sentence. And then I look at her and go, man, the sunshine is bright outside. Isn't it beautiful? And she looks at me, I'm like, and you know what? Me and your granddaughter are right here waiting to hug you. And it makes her stop. It's like what Sean does when he goes avocado, and you're like, wait, why did he just say avocado? And it makes her stop, and it's a pattern interrupt. And I often think to myself, what is the way I pattern interrupt myself? Can I do that? What does it look like? How does it feel? What needs to be said? Do I have to be standing a certain way? Do I have to be sitting? Do I have to be in a certain room? Do I have to say it out loud? Do I have to say it inside? Do I have to say it with my warrior voice? Do I say it with my queen voice? Do I say it with my lover voice? What do I have to do to yank my butt out of crazy victimized thinking and back into, let's just be happy? So yesterday I took some time and colored with my daughter. I think we colored and played for like 2 hours. And there's at one point in time that I kind of felt guilty. I was like, you know what? And I thought, hang on a second. I'm with my daughter. It's okay. And I did a pattern interrupt, and I allowed it to interrupt. That's the other thing. You can do it in pattern interrupt, and you can say pattern interrupt all you want, but until you allow it to interrupt, it's just another thing you say because you're supposed to say it in personal and development. Oh, I'm supposed to say pattern interrupt. Okay, pattern interrupt. And then you just keep going. So you got to let it sit, like you got to accept it, and you got to allow it to happen. Otherwise, you're just saying a bunch of junk. It's the same thing in our spiritual walks and in our professional walks. There's a lot of things we say, and there's a lot of things that we say we're supposed to be doing, and we write in our journal, and we pray, and we do this, and we do all that. But really, are we just doing it? Or are you allowing it to sit in? When you allow it to settle in, you see someone like a Eve on the phone crying over a Barbie doll. And some people will just roll their eyes. And I'm over here going, this woman got out of her flipping way and literally let it come in. Because we can read all the books we want. We can quote sermons, we can quote scripture, we can quote authors, we can quote everything you can think of, and you can listen to seminars, and you can do all this stuff. But until you actually let it interrupt your thoughts and hold captive the thoughts that haven't been serving you, you're really just, pardon my French, pissing in the wind. That's really all you're doing. I'm sorry, Sean, that I just said that from East Texas on your call. I'm sorry. But
First time I ever heard it. I'm not sure what it means.
You know exactly what it means. That's what my dad always said. Don't just be pissing in the wind. It just gets all over you. And then you just stink and you're sticky and nasty.
Nadie levanta la mano because nadie quiere hablar de eso.
So it's that moment that you actually let something interrupt. And when that happens, that's when you see things differently and things start changing. So I just wrote down, where is more success? Is it already here? And the pattern interrupt will help me see it. And how do I help others do the same? Can I? And how do I show up more? And then, hang on, let me read the next one to myself first before I read it out loud. Okay, how do I allow others and myself to see and feel me more? And is it just something I keep saying? And what is the barrier that stops this? And it's a barrier until it's not. So that, just sitting here listening to y'all, that's what I'm hearing right now, Sean. So.
Well, and the key is that something's going to interrupt us all the time. And if it is a pattern, what if the pattern was joy? What if joy interrupted us? Jim Rohn said, rarely does a good idea interrupt you. You have to go out and find it. You have to be in search of it. You have to be in motion to it. Sitting and waiting, the law of attraction, where everybody was saying, well, the law of attraction, sitting on your couch isn't going to make anything happen. Thinking about stuff, you still got to get out and activate it. It's called the reticular activation system, the reticular activating system. You actively have to be looking for something for the RAS to kick in. You can do all of the journaling. You can do all of the meditation. You can be in the highest state of energy. But if nobody knows you're there, if you don't open the door when people knock on it, if you don't give people a chance to raise their hand, I've been through this with Rhonda. I've been through this with a lot of people. What do I need to do? Go do what you do well. What's that? Your videos. Go do a video. She'll do a video, or she'll go spend time with Amelia. And, my phone rang. What? Yeah, I was recovering the chairs out in the barn, and the phone rang, and I got 2 orders. Oh, good, because you were at least in action. If you sit stagnant, nothing happens. Lisa was talking about this last night on her conversation about random chats of kindness. She was saying, we could have waited to get this right, but if I waited one day, with as busy as her world is, this could have just been sifted and sorted and said, I'll get to it. Could have been a eventually, a someday. I'd encourage you to be in this moment right now. I really, really would. So as you start this morning, and as you get into your joy this morning, and as you find yourself this morning, be aware of getting into action. Delia, I see your hand is up.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So, putting together what you, Rhonda, and Bob said about being in the moment and giving meaning to ourselves about the conversation that we have in situations with others, family members and all. What I heard there was, what value can we draw, which is actually the experience that he was talking about. What positive value can I draw out of that conversation, mom-daughter? As Rhonda and Evelyn said, in the past, I was in that situation, not only with my mom, but my siblings. And recently I visited one of them, and I experienced the gap, because I've been in personal growth for a long time now, and I'm older, I'm 4 years older. So how was I different this time? And next time it's going to be even better, Sean, because next time I have already internalized the 4 voices that you taught about yesterday: the queen, the warrior, the magician, and the lover. So as I entertain my conversations around my family and friends, now I have the capacity to go as an observer and look at them with kindness and love, but see them through a different glass, totally objective. And now I see why, when Sharon and I used to question you, Sean, you don't absorb the bad energy. Well, I just got it today when Bob asked the question. It's like I put the 4 voices, what you were saying and what Bob was asking Evelyn, and I got it. I said, as long as we are the observer and we look at our partners, friends, family members, and prospects from that observer's place, we have the compassion and the empathy and the warrior shield not to absorb that. And if it gets too intense, we can always walk away because we're human. I understand that we have a tolerance. And you have developed this tolerance because you've been doing this for a long time, and I'm just learning this. But I can relate to Evelyn in the past, how angry I used to get because I wanted my mother to be happy. And my mother was my mother. God bless her. She had so many talents and so many gifts. And thank God that I focused on the things because of my dad, because my dad was always looking on the bright side. Thank God that I looked at the positives, because the truth of the matter is that she was manic depressive. Can I change that? Did I create that? No. I have to count my blessings. She was not a smoker. She was not a drinker. She was not a gambler. She was a perfectionist with her daughters and her home. And I'm not saying that is good either. But from the other maladies, I believe we locked out. We didn't have a drunk in the house. And because I went through the experiences with her growing up, I'm the oldest of 4. It has made me the person that I am. And I'm in love with myself. I don't want to sound egotistical here, but it's like when I discovered who I was, I would say I discovered who I was totally in 2012. And I'm still working on it. But when I became comfortable with myself, I see what I want to say. With all my faults, with all my talents, it's like, wow, you know what? I'm okay. I can help others. I did this automatically without being in a network company. Because it is my calling. I love to inspire others, and I have done that since I was a little girl. That's the role that God has given me. So when I became comfortable with that, like I have done a lot of things that I'm very proud of. Yeah, I completed my list. Do I need to go to 1,000? No. I could if I wanted to, but I'd rather serving others.
Then you should.
Well, if I find the time to put more stuff about myself, I actually.
So, but here's the thing, Delia. Here's the thing. Let me let you know a little secret.
Okay.
The fact that you reached the target that somebody set for you. And listen, this is the subconscious speaking. Could I go to 1,000? Sure, but why? That's an old story.
Okay.
Follow me. It's an old story. Could you go to 1,000? Yes. Should you? Yes. Because this is about you falling in love, back in love with you. This is
Okay.
about, the challenge with any one of our successes is that we find a way to keep ourselves where we're at. We don't have enough ammunition when the world throws things at us. We don't have enough ammunition to go, I'm better than that. I know that. I've got a list of 1,000 things that say I've dealt with challenges, I've dealt with pain, I've dealt with situations that I can deal with any of this. So that
Exactly. Is to keep me amused and in love and enjoy.
That's it.
Like if I climb to the mountain, I have to find a bigger mountain, like they say in meditation.
Right. And once you get to the peak of this mountain, sometimes you got to go down the other side through the valley to get back up to the other mountain. And that's what awakening is.
Exactly. I got it. I heard that on meditation today. So that's something that I need to work on, not to be stagnant at my level.
There you go. Absolutely. Keep the energy flowing.
Thanks.
Well, there you go, Misfits. Another amazing morning. I appreciate you all so very, 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 very much. I hope the end of the month, if you're in this profession of MLM, me loving more, if you're in this profession, I hope your end of the month is coming on strong. You've got another 2, you got all of today and all of tomorrow to go help the world get a little bit better, get some more of your products, get a little bit more of your joy, get a little bit more of you. Make it the best month ever. I'll see y'all where? At the next event. I'm Sean Murphy, along with an amazing group of misfits. Y'all send some love to each other.
Have a wonderful.
Have a great
Love
day.
you guys. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Love
I
you
love you
guys.
guys. Have a great day.
Love you all. Anything wrong. Have a great
Bye-bye.
day.
Love y'all. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.
Love you, Sean.
Love you too, brother.